So, welcome back to another episode of the Hentai Literature Club, where here we talk about hentai through the lens of literary criticism. I am your host, Josh from CAFCON. I am the club president of the Hentai Literature Club, and I am here to guide you through the tag today that is Onsen. Before we get any further into that, we're gonna go around and just give a brief introduction of our usual suspects.
I am Xavier. I am the resident hentai expert. Unless somebody wants to dispute me on that, in which case I will gladly let you have it.
No, never.
Alright.
That's it. That was it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's your raison d'etre in life? Okay.
He's a man who knows what he's about.
I am Chaz. I am a lesser deity of creation in the pantheon of J.R.R. Tolkien and Uncle Stu, who drones on and on without shutting up. I like to tell stories. I tell stories for the World of Darkness actual plays that we do. I tell stories for the fiction that I write. Beyond that, kind of a little too much of a loser to call myself a lesser deity of creation, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta feel good about yourself.
I am Melinda. I am Chaz's girlfriend, and I stream on Twitch at Gothy Otaku. And that's it.
Anai. And that's it.
Come on, you're not even a resident hentai expert. You gotta have something.
Well, everybody here has an official place in our school hierarchy. It's just we tend to forget it. I know Xavier is head of the disciplinary committee. Chaz is head of the CAFCON student council. I believe we have Melinda was the president of the anime and manga club. Anai was president of the occult club.
Or no, I think Melinda. Were you a cult club?
I don't-
Why am I getting into this?
It's part of the fandom we're slowly building up.
all three of you.
You can be president of the Spanish club.
Is that all I am to you, Xavier?
In this
Mexican?
in this fictional school, yes.
There's very rarely Mexicans in anime and manga. I think Chad from Bleach is the only one I can ever think of.
Wasn't his last name like Yasutora or something?
It was I think his mom or his dad was Japanese, and then
His grandfather
was Mexican.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the tag we have today, it's less of a sex act, as some of them are.
It is if you're not doing it right.
But what we're talking about is onsen, and if you don't know what an onsen is, it's basically a Japanese hot spring. They usually come in the form of, like, you go to an inn up in the mountains, and they'll have natural hot springs or built hot springs where if you've ever been to a hot spring, you just kind of go and you relax in the water, and it's a nice experience. But usually at a Japanese one, it's also like a hotel where people stay in kimonos, and they'll give you like a really nice dinner and like a tea and stuff like that. And if you watch anime at all, then you've seen the onsen episode, and that's what this is for us. This is the onsen episode. We don't know when, but we will get to the beach episode at some point. So now that I've kind of explained what we're going to be talking about, obviously we're going to be looking at this huge part of Japanese culture, leisure and relaxation at an onsen, in the context of hentai. So I'm curious what you all expected when you saw the tag, and you're like, oh, Japanese hot springs and hentai.
You know, I'm
exactly what it sounds like. Just screwing in a hot spring.
Well, I was actually surprised because as prevalent as the trope is in like anime of you have the dude that's like peeping into the hot spring, or the guy that was supposedly peeping into the hot spring when he really wasn't. That didn't catalyze any of the texts on today's dockets. Interestingly enough,
I told you all
True.
that there was the most popular text had Shota as a tag, and I figured I didn't want the conversation to get too sidetracked this time. So I didn't put that one in, but that is exactly what happens in that one.
gotcha.
Oddly enough, I was expecting MILF, because that comes up fairly often with onsen.
Really?
Yes. And I don't.
Oh, that's right. You're the hentai expert. I forgot.
And I think it's because, like, you know, they're stressed and they want to get away, or they're there with their family or something.
Or probably like feels really good. Like I would imagine, and I honestly have nothing to back this up, but I imagine onsen or by far more popular with the older generation than with the
Yeah.
neat generation that are at
Older
home
is a
playing.
little much. She's like 24.
But that is something that they joke about even in these hentai, right? It's like going to an onsen is kind of like an old-fashioned
Yes, it
vacation.
It's an old person thing to do, but
Okay, but have you guys been to hot springs? Because there's one that's like an hour away from here that are so great.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not fantastic.
It's like
I just think
great.
it.
I need to go then. I didn't know that.
I've only been to regular springs.
Yeah, we've been to the hot springs. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I've never been to an onsen,
Yeah.
but I think that's definitely like on the list of,
I think onsen implies what, open air?
yeah.
I feel like these hot springs are cool. It can only get better, and that would be onsen.
In having the whole luxury experience
Yeah.
of staying at the hotel and having the food and everything.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty fantastic to actually go to one with that really great mountain view where snow's covering everything and stuff. It's really cold as a bitch getting in and out, and that would suck. but-
It's not. It's actually not that bad because your body temperature gets really high because the water is so hot that you go out and it's
refreshing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
You don't-
it does get bad in like the Scandinavian parts where they just.
What Scandinavian parts of Japan are there?
No.
But you're talking about like in Finland, right? Because
Yeah.
Finland also has a huge
Yeah.
hot spring culture.
Oh, I didn't know that. Forgive me, I was uneducated.
That's like it's the joke that's like the one time where Finns are open with people. Is that everybody's naked? We're at the sweat house kind of thing. We can be cool with each other now rather than standing 5 feet away from each other.
What were you saying?
Oh no, they do that thing where it's just like sweat house jumping into cold water.
Oh, like the Polar Bear Club
It's
motherfuckers?
just like they say there's alleged health benefits.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Apparently, it's good for you.
I mean,
But, like-
people do that in Japan too. Like, there's a couple of hot springs where, like, if you want to change
Yeah.
to a different location, you just leave and it's really cold.
I believe the Japanese would do that though because it seems suicidal.
Did you all have any expectations other than what Xavier said about MILF being something that's tied to onsen and hentai? Like,
Oh.
did you expect any particular scenarios to emerge? I know you said the whole peeping Tom kind of scenario.
Right, like I expected that to be front and center, and it really wasn't.
I
And
expected it to be part of one, but maybe. it's
kudos
there.
kudos to these guys. You know how like D&D has that cliche where every campaign starts with the adventurers meeting in a club.
like the-
I imagine like that is the equivalent of onsen porn. Like the cliche is that it starts with a peeping tom. You subverted that, mangaka. Good on you.
I don't think you've read a lot of onsen hentai. That
I haven't. Am I the resident hentai expert, Xavier?
no, that's an anime thing. It's not a hentai
Yeah,
thing.
like I've read a lot of Onsen as well, but it's not.
I was
one
also
of them.
expecting cheating.
That's something
happens.
that I noticed a lot too, right? When I was researching this to pick stuff for us to read. For
Yeah.
some reason, a lot of cheating happens in these hentai manga.
Netsurare.
Yeah, a lot of NPR.
It's not quite NTR.
It's not that.
shitty.
But sometimes it's things like group sex where it's like
Yeah.
an older woman comes to the hot spring and she's like, "Oh, my husband's drunk. He's not paying attention to me."
I'll have these old men.
Yeah, and then there's
fucking.
then she gets a train run on her by 20 old men.
Well, I'm glad we didn't read that.
Only the ripest of dilfs.
Funnily enough, one of these texts does have DILF as a tag, although Anai disputed that man was actually a DILF.
He's nodded.
He's somebody's dilf, okay? Just because you don't wanna ilf him and.
I kind of have to agree with Anai a little bit. I think that particular artist had a very particular style of portraying characters that were supposed to be unattractive versus the ingenue in that story that was supposed to be seen as being attractive. So I get where you're going with that.
Did you have any expectations, Anai, for
Uh,
hot spring porn?
I mean, since it's just kind of like a setting, I was expecting something like what I see in anime, since I've never actually read any hentai with this, where it's kind of like, you know, a group of people going and, I don't know, somehow accidentally having sex, I would assume.
Oh no!
You laugh at it. It's been happening a lot.
Accidental sex?
Yes.
Is this something you've read in the newspaper, or are we talking personal experience? Like,
I know, actually, I think it's just because I saw a video of how it
It can happen.
yeah, it was dumb. It's
It
dumb.
could happen to you.
babe,
Yeah.
I have a confession. Every one of our acts together has been entirely deliberate. I don't know if you've been this way.
Oh no. I've been harassed and I didn't know.
If somebody's telling you that they accidentally put it in your butt, that's bullshit.
No, that happened to a friend of mine, and she didn't say anything.
And he didn't mean it. He says he didn't mean it.
No, he was with his girlfriend. They were having sex. This is probably like our junior or senior year of high school, and they were both a little tipsy. And then the lights were out, and then he was like, "Wow, she's unusually tight today." And then afterwards, she was like, "Please, next time you put it in the right hole."
Oh.
I don't know why she didn't feel the need to be like, "Hey, please take it out of my butt."
Okay,
Maybe she was thinking, you know what? I'm going to give this a try.
Usually that's an immediate response, right?
Yeah, like that's
Yes.
automatic.
okay, at least 9 out of 10 times, it's not true.
But then some women can take it the first time, though. Have you ever seen that Sexplanations video where she talks about her own sexual experiences?
No.
Yeah, I've seen many.
Yeah, well, she has one where she talks about like how she got into her career, and she talks about like the first time she tried anal, and it wasn't that difficult, and she just kind of
Went in.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, put enough Astroglide on anything, you'll get through a keyhole.
So, why do you think people are interested in this particular tag? What do you think draws people to want these scenarios in Onsen?
Well, one, there's a lot of naked people around. And that's awesome. Two, if you've been to an onsen, I imagine the thought has crept into your mind how much you would like to see other naked people that are preferably not the old dudes running around.
I've seen naked people at the hot springs.
Exactly.
Okay, can I tell? There's also river floating, and the hot springs that are around here look out to the river. So we were river floating, and a friend pointed out the hot springs, because that was before I'd gone there at all. So they were like, "Oh, look, those are the hot springs. You can tell the private rooms apart from the like general area." And as we were floating, this girl comes out fully naked to get into the hot springs.
Well, that's just
and I just
lucky you.
made eye contact with her. It was the most hilarious thing. 'Cause she
Like,
You just give her a thumbs up.
she just kind of like stood there for like a second and then ran back and tried to cover herself.
Yeah, it's because she was in the private rooms, right? But the
Yeah.
private rooms have a view.
To look
However,
look out to the
Yeah.
because it's outdoors. It was kind of really funny.
If we're gonna do that, let's go out there with a towel so people don't see you like that.
Well, it's because you're looking out to nature and to a place where it's trafficked by people.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
should be
put on
smarter.
a towel.
Yeah.
I also think that a pattern that I've noticed and I've had explained to me in a number of different facets of Japanese culture. We have to get fucking Gaijin Goomba in on one of these. That'd be fucking amazing.
Gaijin Guma.
Fucking somebody spread the word, make it happen. But no, I think there's a very escapist nature in a lot of Japanese entertainment where it's just anything but the fucking zaibatsu I chain myself to, 6 days a week. So onsen is something very far away from that. It's relaxing. It's a place where you can just breathe, and I think it kind of transports the reader a little bit away from their stress.
Yeah, I think that's a very astute observation. That kind of plays a role in
Thank you.
in this one right here, right? The
Yeah.
2 days, 1 night trip, Cheeky JK Hot Springs trip.
But that also
it-
has other.
Cheeky JK, we're dead serious.
But this also has that whole fantasy of he's like, oh man, I'm working for my company all the time. I don't spend any of the money I have all these vacation days. I'm just gonna take some time off. I'm gonna go to the hot springs. I'm gonna enjoy myself. But then he feels shitty because he's like, gosh, why did I pick a hot spring that's still so close to where I work, so that if anything happens, I can cut my vacation short and head back to the office. And for people who don't know what Zaibatsu is, like a corporate gang pretty much, right? It's not a gang per se, but it's like a...
Zaibatsu is like a Japanese mega corporation.
Yeah.
That's what I understand the word to mean. If I'm wrong, then I'm fucking wrong. But
No, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I do think it has like that, like origin and like a group of people who work together in a way, right? In like a cliquish manner, I should say, more than a gang-like manner. So we've already kind of gotten into this, but what were you all expecting from the tag, either narratively or visually? Because you said, Xavier, that you had certain expectations for onsen hentai.
Mm-hmm.
One of that was cheating. Why do you think cheating is facilitated by something like an onsen?
I think it's because at an onsen, right? They just kind of wind down and they just go with the flow. And when in the terms of hentai, that's probably going to end up leading to sex.
So it's almost kind of like crossing a threshold into another world, right? From like a narrative standpoint, like you're going from the regular corporate world or world that you exist in, and you're kind of almost like receding or retreating back into nature, where now you're winding down, and perhaps something like inhibitions and cultural and social norms are being brought down, and that facilitates what happens.
And you're just like, fuck it.
Well, also, like, a lot of these onsens, like, they offer, like, sake, so people are always drinking, and then, like, maybe the husband gets drunk and he's passed out and he just doesn't care.
Alcohol, I believe, was a factor in these two.
Yeah.
Well,
The first one, they're both drunk.
First one, yeah.
Well, we say first one, but like the first one we looked at for us, and that we'll look at first is by bifidus. It's Matsubara-san to Onsen de, or Hot Springs Trip with Matsubara-san. And that one starts, the thing that facilitates the sex is they both get a little tipsy and then they kind of trip over each other on their way back to their room.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess artistically, I felt like that one didn't make the transitions between one scene to another very
It
obvious.
skipped around like a son of a bitch, yeah. Another unifying visual element. I couldn't tell what the fuck was happening in most of these. Because, well, I mean, yes, I could. I do have an imagination, but the first one skipped around way too much. The second one was censored as all son of a bitch.
I think the
Yeah,
first
fully
one
censored.
was, I don't know if it was incomplete, because I felt like there was a middle piece missing that could have,
Because it just got escalated.
The
without-
one
Yeah,
with
I
the
thought so too.
it's like, grabs hand, go, and then transitions to her exposing herself in
Yeah.
the hot spring, which I didn't know they went to.
Yeah, I didn't realize
It's
they were there.
implied.
I didn't. There was a narrative leap, yes, but it was not one that I could not follow. So, grabs hand, which implies follow me, and
Yeah.
then she's just talking about being horny like two panels before.
I mean, was it a
What are you
follow
gonna do?
me? I mean, it could have been. But
I mean, first I thought it was like a judo throw or something. But that wouldn't have made
it could have
sense.
been like a follow me or please stay, because he might have felt shitty.
I saw it as, hey, let's go fuck. And then they went to go fuck. And I was like, you know what? Expectations upheld. Not surprised.
Did you have something to say on that?
Yeah, so the thing with just graphic novels or comic books or this kind of style of story, medium, yeah. There is things that happen between the panels that you're supposed to imagine, right? Like you see one of somebody holding a hammer, and the next picture is the hammer hitting something. Your brain imagines the movement.
Right.
But I felt like the things happening in between the panels were
They weren't very
too
indicative.
much.
Or you thought they were too much?
Like, I felt like it was too much space of time that the person doing the story didn't like.
He probably had a
Account
very,
for.
very limited framework, because this is what, 16 pages? 16 pages
21.
is fairly standard. 21?
Oh, 20.
20? Okay.
Page
Then
21 is credits.
20 then says shenanigans to me. Like, he probably had to just crimp it down or something. Why the fuck is Mind Break a tag on this?
I was gonna ask that too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna discuss that. You guys have are there any connections you want to make between the tag of Onsen and the other tags that you see here?
I felt like the other one was a little more mind break than this one.
I think might know why this one's mind break.
So big ass, that's obvious, right? Kimono, that kind of
You know what?
goes with the onsen.
I get it. I get
Get
it.
it?
Big brass glasses.
Yeah,
soul
Harry
thing.
MILF, those kind of just go together.
That's also interesting in
sweating,
its own way, right?
I did not catch the sweating.
I guess
Well,
that
it's an
makes-
onsen and it's hot.
I mean, yeah, but that wasn't a factor for the sex. Like, oh, you're so dirty, you're so sweaty.
Okay,
That didn't come into play.
Yeah, no, that didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I looked at the.
Maybe it was just more so visual.
I didn't look at the art enough to notice the sweating either, though.
Yeah, me neither. But to be fair, if it was like fucking Junji Ito or something, like, he would make you fucking notice.
Now,
There'd be tidal waves
the
coming off
mind
this bitch.
break, I think, comes in a softer version.
than what
Yeah.
you usually
Then
expect
what
from
we- yeah,
my brain.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
was
it's
a-
just like, oh, I hate men, and then it's like, do you really though?
Well, before we get into
Do you
this,
really though? Hold on, have some of my dick.
before we get into this, do we want to give the overview?
Yeah, Xavier, would you like to give us
Oh.
the summary of this one?
Because I have something to bring back around to that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so this guy goes to a hot spring, obviously, and he finds what is it? The daughter of
An antique store owner.
that he delivers to. He's like, "Oh shit, you're here," and she's just like, "Yeah, my back pain came back or something."
Oh, it was her dad's back pain came back.
Or
I
her
think.
dad's back pain.
He was going to go to the onsen originally.
Oh.
She gets to take his
I
place.
feel like if you got back pain, you should probably go to an onsen.
I thought
Yeah,
she
it
worked
was
at the
weird.
onsen.
No,
No.
Oh,
she
man.
took her dad's vacation, which
I
is a weird setup.
It's like, no, we have to use our vacation days. You have to go. She's like, "Oh, fine, Dad."
That's like, I can't make it to Gen Con this year, guys. Throw Adam in the trunk. He's going if he wants to or not.
And then I guess there's like a social drinking event when they're all like talking shit about her. They're being very
They're being
They're being
lascivious.
Yeah.
Old purge.
The
Yeah,
old
old
men are
perfs.
being lecherous.
And she drinks. And does he drink as much?
I think they're both drinking.
And then they go to her room. And sex
kind of
happens.
starts.
Yeah, she's just like, "Oh no!" And then
and then it doesn't happen.
he starts breaking down her walls, which I think that's where the mind break part comes in.
Well, I wanted to ask this because there's a couple of parts, like the one panel where she talks about, "Oh, I've only had one partner, and I remember that it hurts." Is it implying that she's been raped in the past?
Or is this
No,
that?
I just
or
think
it's
it's
just a bad
sometimes-
relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes losing your virginity hurts.
Yeah, it's
I'm-
kind of implied that she has like a
Well, I
negative
figured-
view of men because probably either a bad relationship implied by a bad sexual experience.
I just
Because
I'm just glad that they didn't drop a whole lot of emotional baggage of her tragic past. It's just like I get so much of that. I'm sick of it. Not Xavier, not Xavier IRL, but like in the hentai, it's just like I get it. You had a shitty boyfriend, or fucking every guy just sees you as a piece of meat. You're gonna end up having sex anyways.
Well, to me, I don't know, but to me it seemed like the aversion to men originally, the not being able to remember what sex felt like, to me seemed indicative of like a blacked out memory or something that was suppressed, and then fucking again remembering that sex hurt. That was literally her only thing. And I think she specifically said she only had sex one time before. So did she dump this dude because his dick was garbage? No, I think personally the text is trying to imply that she was raped at some point in the past. She suppressed the memory, and then is it a positive mind break in a way where she's like, okay,
it is a positive mind break.
that's weird to say. I don't think it was a mind break. It was more.
I think they couldn't. Like, what do they do? Is that we worked out your psychological issues with
my
penis.
dick. Yeah. Come here, baby. Time for some healing.
I didn't really see it like that. I think for once I didn't immediately go the darkest.
Holy fuck! I'm just a pessimist.
Yeah, I just think it's more of a bad relationship, or maybe just a bad sexual experience with that specific person that she was just like, that really sucked and it hurt, so we didn't go any further.
I
And
didn't
that's
even-
it.
yeah.
Like, we just ended our relationship.
I didn't even go as far as that, just because myself, I also think many of the things that she was thinking about men. There are very few men I don't think that. You guys are pretty cool. I don't mind you guys. I
Yeah,
think
okay.
like you guys.
I don't mind you guys. I'm not,
No,
not terribly fond.
You guys are cool.
You can sit there on the other side of the room.
I like having you over my house. I like chatting, but I mean, you know this, right, Josh? When we first met, I think I made the comments of how
No,
I wasn't-
you've had a lot of negative experiences with the men in your life.
I guess, yeah, but it's never been like a relationship that I thought, oh, this person really makes me hate men. It's just kind of like a thing I grew up with, kind of.
Well, you also had the misfortune of probably not having the best cultural role models when it comes to male relationships.
True, yeah.
Also, she met Jesse.
Yes, but I just kind of saw it as I did relate to that a little, of just kind of like men aren't really always the greatest people to have around. I'm sorry.
That's
You
fine.
guys.
That's fair. I mean, that's a little sexist. I feel like you can say that about anybody, but if you just want to put it as men, that's fine too.
Well, I have a question.
That's not false.
Yeah.
It did?
Mine didn't.
It seemed like
yeah.
it didn't bother you too much.
It hurt, but it wasn't like, ow, get the fuck off, I'm gonna punch you in the face now. It hurt enough that, like, I told you to, like, hold on. and like let it pass for a second, and then I let you keep going.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like I wasn't like, "I'll get the fuck off me."
To me, it hurt enough where I was like, well, I can't ever have sex.
Wow.
Like,
That does happen though, which is a possibility for this, where
Oh, wait, hang on. Shout out to Josh for overcoming that. Holy shit, you were a pimp.
where their first experience is so negative that they don't want to ever do it again.
Yeah, that's a real thing that happens to a lot of women, is that their first sexual experience, like Xavier said, it's bad enough that you have such a negative view of either men in general or just sexual experience as you've had it, that sex is just something you absolutely don't want.
I mean, you still get horny, but that, you know, there's
doesn't mean you want to have sex with a
yeah,
person.
there's fake penises and machines for that.
Everywhere, yeah.
We never really explained what mind break is for the people who listen to this and don't know a
Episode
lot
coming
about
up.
it.
Tune in next week.
Mind break has a negative connotation, and that's because it usually is, where it's hand in hand a lot of times with moral degeneration, where,
Also things like rape and a lot of forced sex.
and drugs,
Yeah.
where it's just like they start off usually non-consenting and it ends up as consent.
It's not even just consent, because it usually starts off with the girl saying, "I don't want this," or "Sex is all right, but I don't really like it that much," and it usually is like a man usually ends up forcing a woman to have sex so much and doing things to them, either
Yeah.
drugging them or using like an extreme amount of toys on them and stuff like that.
Or just having a fantastic penis, apparently.
You know what's interesting though? You remember for the so this is going to be the first time we've ever admitted this, like, publicly.
Oh no.
There was a time when Josh, Bob, me, and Joe, if you remember that guy, were actually thinking about like writing fucking erotic literature because there was good money in it. And I remember one of the big stipulations was that, like, you always had to imply that she was at least kind of into it or kind of wanted it, because you couldn't do that. You couldn't do straight up rape literature.
Yeah, on Amazon you can.
Oh, is it just Emma? Because I thought that might have been
Most-
Oh no,
most-
there's a whole lot of it out there. Don't get me wrong.
A lot of it's free though. If you want to sell porn, it usually has to be consensual, even though a lot of people have non-consensual fantasies. It's just like a means of companies like Amazon and Smashwords and Barnes and Noble and Apple covering their bases, so nobody says, "How dare you proliferate this material? I'm suing you," kind of thing.
That's interesting, but I mean, obviously, doujinshi don't have that problem. Or, when I say problem, they don't have that issue one way or the other.
Things are different over there.
Well, yeah, that's I find that interesting. Cultures are different.
There was that moment where there was like that prime minister. I think he was a prime minister, or he might have been like somebody lower, well, slightly lower in the government.
Did some
where he
public
was-
official just fucking leak his fucking porn history?
No, he was known as an erotica writer, and he was very anti-hentai and just sexual anime, manga, games, and stuff like that. And he wanted to like ban it and severely limit it.
Did he get
himself-
cut into his profits?
Oh,
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he was an erotica writer. He was like this hyper conservative Japanese politician who basically hated this kind of stuff. But then
But-
he himself was an erotica writer like back in the 60s or 70s. And he wrote a lot of like non-consensual stuff. I remember somebody translated one of the scenes from his novels. And you know those Japanese sliding doors that have the paper and like the wooden
The
squares?
rice paper, yeah.
Yeah, the rice paper. One of the scenes was a guy sticks his dick through the rice paper and has a girl suck him off. And just what a weird little fantasy
So like
thing,
a
right?
glory hole.
Yeah, like a Japanese glory hole.
So that's actually an interesting little window into human nature. Because the way I see it, there's two possible scenarios. Either this hyper-conservative guy has been hyper-conservative his entire life, and he was so repressed that this was his way out, his release. or number two, he was super loose about it in the past and didn't give a fuck in the 60s and 70s. And then as he aged, I guess he felt like he needed to repent and went overboard and became hyper-conservative as a way to atone.
Alternatively, you could have just been after the money.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point too.
And then you got, it's everything's catching up. It's just like, I need to start shifting away from my sex. What can I do? I can be a politician.
Yeah, I only know two things: making up stories and fucking people. Obvious second profession. I don't know, but to me, stories like that sound like, you know, those super anti-gay senators and shit that get caught in a fucking airport bathroom with some male prostitute. It sounds like that to me, honestly.
Yeah. So kind of moving back towards the text, what did you all think of these protagonists? Do you think they had any sort of external or internal conflicts going on?
I don't think she was super into, like, boning at first, but she kind of just went with
That's
it.
where the mind break comes
Yeah,
in.
that's where.
The ends justify the means.
Yeah.
This page 4, where the men are like,
This
boyfriend,
could have been a completely different hentai.
let us uncles take care of you. Like, that was so fucking disgusting.
That was weird, but I think that's just part of the Japanese incest culture where that's just a normal thing.
Well, no,
But I don't think they
that's
were
not-
her literal family.
Yeah, that's not.
Well, no, I get it, right? Or
'cause
do you
they're
think
old.
do you think that's like the American hey, come to daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily incestuous. It's just more of a position of
Dominance.
of respect and authority that you
Elder.
can assert over somebody. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
That
Still
kinda-
weird, but
It's
it's weird to us. I think to them, I think that's one of the
I mean,
things
she
that don't.
No, that's-
clearly doesn't like it. I don't think
That's-
this
that's
is a
so weird.
normalized thing. She look right there.
Well, no.
I don't like it.
She doesn't like it. I'm saying this specifically the let us uncles take care of you part. I think that is more something that does not jump the translation gap well, more so than
Well, because
something that's actually.
I think in a lot of Asian cultures, calling somebody older who isn't related to you auntie or uncle is a
Yeah.
pretty common
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
'Cause I know that's a
very
pretty common thing in, like, I think Thai and Vietnamese culture.
What's the actual title for that? Do you
Yeah,
know?
in India
Oji-san?
too.
Is it Oji-san?
Yeah, for
Because I
uncle.
know Oji-san. I think it also translates to like old man or something.
Oh,
So-
I think that's no wait.
The fact that they're calling themselves uncles isn't what's bothering me. Like,
It's the how lecherous they are.
Yeah.
They're basically openly coming on to her.
Yeah, because I've experienced that. I've had disgusting men talk.
That old?
I don't
Because
know.
those guys look like they're in their 50s.
They're the kind of thing. It's the kind of thing where I just don't think about it. It's forgotten in my mind. But like,
I'm sorry, go
it's just so disgusting to me.
That one guy in the back is interesting to me. Because that's a very distinctive hairstyle. I've only ever seen one real life Japanese man with that hairstyle. It's that one Japanese physicist. You know who I'm talking about? I can't fucking think of his name.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Looks fucking exactly like him, and I'm wondering if the artist was trying to make some kind of commentary, or is he just like, fuck it, this will signify him as a different person.
No, I was gonna say that this is kind of like what Xavier was talking about, where it's kind of hinted at where a lot of these hentai doujins go, with the whole one 20 to 40-year-old woman gets gang banged by several old men.
Ugh.
Who are just okay with that, right? Like, how many guys do you actually know when, like, hey, this girl's offered herself, you guys want to all ram her at the same time?
I mean, again, that speaks to the fantasy of hentai, and I'm sure if you are reading the kind of hentai where that happens, you probably have fantasies of being one of those dudes.
Yeah, but if you, Josh, Tom, and I went to the hot spring, and this girl's offered herself to us, all of us had been like, nah.
Rock, paper, scissors, right now, motherfuckers.
Just like, I'm not gonna have anybody sloppy seconds.
Right? That's
At least
weird.
not
Okay, but
immediate.
what if you go first?
Okay, if I go for it, and then
If I go first, she's gonna be too
and
raw for
there's-
seconds.
and then
baby.
there's the how many can't you take at the same time? How good is she at either of those so you can get the best results? It's just a fucking it's not worth my fucking time.
So you're saying it's just a logistics nightmare?
Yes, like I don't know you. I don't know how good you are at these things.
Submit your resume, please.
And if you're trying to give it to me for free, probably not that good at it.
If you're good at something, never give it away for free.
You know?
Was there something else you wanted to comment on this page?
I don't like men.
I
guess-
gotta back you up though. I'm not into sloppy seconds myself.
It does say right there it brings back bad memories. I think I skipped over. I don't know if I just didn't catch that, but
I'm glad whatever that was, they didn't bring it up.
yeah, there probably
Which
is.
sounds shitty, but it's just like I don't.
You're not here for
care.
that.
I demand character development in my
Just
porn.
it's already kind of vanilla, right? in that
It's one man, one woman.
Yeah.
Nothing particularly kinky.
because it only ever goes into the it's okay, my penis will make your bad memories go away.
Okay, so
Magic wand.
so here's I think one of the jumps. It's them. They're just walking away. She's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to get that drunk." Next page, she's on the floor.
Yeah, what the fuck happened there?
Next page, she's on the floor.
Well, do you see the top part
Yeah.
there? That's
Them falling to
yeah,
the
that's
door.
Right.
like a fall.
Oh,
But
okay.
he walked her back to her room and then
Yeah.
but he didn't stop at the doorway. Like clearly he followed her into the room.
Well,
And then they
Well,
fell
the
in
thing
the middle
is,
of
he
the room.
probably fell like at the doorway, and they fell into her room. Like,
And
they
fell
tried-
into her butt.
Which they weren't lying about the tag. That is indeed a big ass.
It takes
You can
up
see her
the
underwear
entire
through the
page.
kimono.
Oh, you can.
I mean, I don't think that's actually like you actually can't do that unless they're
Yeah, I was gonna say that's some thin fabric.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's some thin
otherwise
silk.
you have to be kind of wet.
Are those like marks?
I think those are the underwear lines.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. These white parts, like it's shiny.
Yeah.
She's got a shiny
Did anybody else have like a moment in the text you wanted to point towards?
butt.
Like a specific page or moment?
Yeah, page 10. Okay, he goes, "I'll do it very gently. Relax your body," and just slams into her.
All in. Well, I mean,
Yes.
she's a MILF, right? So she's obviously had a whole penis before.
Once.
I don't
done
think he
it.
slams it in though. Look, it goes like that, and
Is
then
she
it's
supposed
the
to be
vagina's
MILF?
perspective,
I don't think that's one of the tags on
and
this.
then it's still not fully in yet. He's slowly putting it in.
I couldn't even tell because it just so it's.
Well, it's like showing the
Wait,
X-ray
wait,
of
who's-
her, like.
I thought that was him going back.
Well,
out.
what it was doing was showing the X-ray of his head, like spreading her open. Is
Yeah,
what
so
that was.
Real question though. First of all, whose dick bevels out like that? And second question, where can I get one?
What?
Look at what the fuck. Let's fucking his dick tapers.
I think that's just because.
You can use it as a bludgeoning weapon.
Each one is different, man. God.
That's right. Mine has the power of fire.
It says that one of the tags was MILF, and I think that's just the way she's drawn.
Yeah,
because it's
she-
kind of implied that she's just a recent college graduate.
So she's got a little bit more of a conservative look to her. Her breasts aren't as perky. She's got hair that's trademark hentai MILF.
Okay.
No, look in the next panel. He's in. Like he's not going slowly.
Yeah,
Well,
it's one
before
page
he
to-
was.
for him
That's
to go
when
in.
she, like, the last panel, she goes, like, it went in, and then it shows it went in.
Okay, so
Here's
here-
my proof.
Here's another part where I thought it was weird. So he's in, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, she backed right the fuck off. I thought that was weird too.
Yeah.
That's again.
Well,
that's
she
kind of
was
what ticked
probably-
the box for like rape memories. For
Well,
me.
she was probably having, like, second thoughts about it. She was like, oh god.
Yeah, they're just
I
like,
did that.
wait, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. They're just like, we're hella drunk.
But I feel like
Let's-
you get that far.
You might as well just go the rest of the way at that point.
No, it's just like why didn't you have second guesses up until that point?
I guess at that point it just got too real.
Because she got naked. And then got the penis.
Well, some people
Ish.
still
I mean, he
can't
did
have
kind of
second
undress
thoughts.
her. Like I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was his finger that pulled her kimono open.
Yeah.
So what do you all think about the sort of actions these characters are taking? Like about like the sort of relationship that's developing in this story, and how it's resolving like primarily the female protagonist's emotional issues.
I have no fucking way in real life, but in hentai, anything goes.
It's nice to see that their problems can just go away that easily.
Yeah, because she's super hesitant, and then I think like just a couple pages past when they actually start having
Oh,
sex,
we're here now.
she goes insane over it. She's like, where is it?
I've been avoiding sex for
It-
so long. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's like it feels so good, and she just goes crazy.
Mind
That's
break.
the mind break part.
Yeah.
So it goes from hesitation to absolute cock-adulation.
So I wanted to ask: is this kind of like something people fantasize about?
Men
You know what?
typically like
Fantasize
to
about.
be told that their penis feels good.
Yeah, but
I
this
think
is
it goes
way
beyond that.
past that. Yeah.
Okay, so and it was a huge fucking mistake. I've spent a couple of my past relationships. I've dated some women that had these really high emotional walls built up, and I would try as hard as I could to try and break them down and try and help them and heal them, because you want to be there for somebody you care about, right? Mm-hmm. I have never had a relationship that lasted underneath a year. Okay? I never succeeded. So I think maybe on an emotional level, there's a lot of guys that I wish I could do this for a woman.
Like just, my penis is magical and she's gonna forget everything.
Honest to God. Okay, well maybe.
Just in general.
Yes.
Well, not like maybe not with the penis, but just in general.
Yes.
We're looking at hentai, right? Like if this was an erotic romantic novel, this would probably be played out over the course of 100, 200 pages. We're seeing something that's like a microcosm of this fantasy of here's this woman, she's untouchable, but she's attractive and she has so many good qualities, but she denies herself relationships for
There's probably a lot of. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you right the fuck off. Keep talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of this like emotional baggage, and I think there's like that fantasy in this case of Mind Break, with I'm gonna tear those walls down, and she's not just gonna be disgusted by sex. She's gonna absolutely love having sex.
I think it goes into like. There's probably a lot of people, and this crosses cultural boundaries. I think there's a lot of like American people in like high school or something. They see a woman, they develop a crush on a woman, and if they have enough balls to ask them out, they're like, oh no, I don't want a relationship. I had a bad relationship.
I'm your teacher. These days though, that probably goes over better.
But I think that definitely speaks to a subset of the potential audience, that it's like, oh, there's this woman that I would love to get with if only I could just fix her problems for her. So I don't know if that's necessarily a sexual fetish, unless in the mindset that getting over her sexual, or not getting over her baggage, will lead to sex. But I can definitely see why a guy would want to identify with a male protagonist that could just wave his magic wand and get rid of those problems.
Well, yeah, because in real life, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like usually it takes years to kind of break somebody's emotional barriers down to have that sort of loving sexual relationship that most people want. Were there any other moments y'all wanted to look at?
I mean, besides the hop from hand holding to sex.
Oh, I know what you're
lewd.
talking about.
And this is what happens, kid. Yeah.
You're talking about right here where she grabs his hand?
Yeah.
He's kind of sitting down, kind of like thinking. He's like in the lobby.
Yeah.
Like there's a vending machine right there, and he's kind of like, oh, what did I do? Yeah, he's kind of solemn looking, right? Like,
yeah.
He wasn't sure he was doing
like
he did the right
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
It looks like he's drinking too.
Yeah, he feels shitty, right? Because he doesn't know how this is gonna pan out. And look at Go Up. She's like just laying there. And so the guy can't hear her thoughts. So he's just like,
Like I
shit. Yeah, I feel really bad.
I'm just like those dirty old men now.
I imagine it's definitely.
But
some sort of,
in actuality, she's just like, damn, I still want some more.
well, in this case, it happens through sex, but it's definitely she's feeling some sort of desire to want to be close to somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is there just a panel of her like scroll up? I just noticed this, but why is there just a panel of her glasses lying there? Like, you think that was just to establish, okay, she has her glasses off, it's nighttime now, she's in bed? Because I'm pretty sure we
Probably. Just her laying down.
I don't think it's that much later after the thing. I think
This artist uses like a lot of ceiling shots, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's
To kind of like imply the character's looking up, laying down, thinking.
But she's not looking up, though. She's looking fucking...
I think she's actually underneath her sheets.
Yeah, I saw that, too. He uses a hell of a lot of x-rays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes.
It's just like,
she
I
comes,
feel
finds
bad.
him.
Like, oh, she's coming out.
It's like he's probably gonna say something, and then hand holding, and then she's like, "Hey, let's go to the hot
Okay, well,
springs."
there's that panel up there, that one singular panel on the right, where it looks like they just entered the hot spring from wherever they were.
Maybe we're just not good enough at looking at the art.
We're not good enough at porn, you guys.
It just,
Pack up the
it
podcast.
just feels like a huge jump.
Yeah, we don't see what leads to them doing this.
Well,
Like-
they
Like,
just
it's
enter
just-
she grabs his arm, they enter the hot springs, and she just kind of takes it off because she's like, you know what? I still want some from earlier. Like,
And then presents herself.
there you go.
Da-da-da-da. I like
He's
how she
already
opens the
ready.
curtains.
You wouldn't be in that situation.
I mean, look, his penis is drooling.
That's a lot of
Like, how did he go from I feel bad to let's go?
Yeah.
I think he
'Cause
was
the
always
top
pretty
panel-
let's go.
He's just like, man, I didn't get to finish.
I mean, okay, clearly, if she wants to go again, obviously no hard feelings from last time, right?
Yeah. He got over it real quick once he realized that, so.
I don't know, it's one of those things where it's just like, if I thought I did something really bad, how fast can I get over that?
Goes from 0 to about 90 degrees.
Well, see, Xavier would also be like, okay, you obviously have some damage. And
Submit your psychological report now.
I also don't.
I've approved your
I
resume.
don't want to be the cock that you just used to ease that pain. I want to genuinely help you. I'm not going to do that though, and you're not going to care. So, let's just go our separate ways.
Buddy, I gotta tell you, I don't think a lot of people are reading this for an uplifting story
I
about a
know.
woman overcoming her psychological issues.
I mean, that's kind of part of the mind break though.
It is, yeah.
This is the best mind break I've seen, or the best version of it.
Going back to the Onsen tag, I feel like it didn't play that big of a role here. To me,
I think it let.
it just led to her being there, and then that one panel where you can see it in the background and she's naked.
To be fair, if they weren't at an onsen, he probably wouldn't have been around her while she was drunk. Probably wouldn't have been around her in a situation where he could walk her to her living quarters. Probably would not have been in a situation where she had so few clothes on. Probably would not have been in a situation where they would have an opportunity to bump uglies like that. So,
I would say look at it like in the scenario where we were kind of starting to theorize about what people like about the idea of the onsen. And we were kind of getting into the idea of like usually it's up in the mountains, it's kind of like out of the city into nature kind of thing. And you're in this communal area where it's almost like sort of boundaries in the way it works in hentai at least can be disestablished. So usually how it works is he's just the guy that delivers packages to her stores and knows about her. In this scenario, now they're kind of in a communal setting where now he's not just the guy delivering packages to her. They're both equals in the sense that they're both here to enjoy themselves and relax at this hot spring. And now it's kind of like a scenario where we, in the sense of the two protagonists, can let go of inhibitions or emotional issues that they have. Him and not being able to approach her and not liking
So
men.
basically it puts them at an equal level.
Yeah. And there's also just being like more relaxed and everything. And also it's a hot and steamy setting where you can get extra hot and steamy.
I have a question for the panelists at large. What do you think it says about the text, or maybe about the themes of the text, where right here, when this guy is getting back, they're back from the hot springs already, and, I mean, yes, obviously she wants to continue the relationship, but look right here, where he's just like, hello, here's your delivery. It is absolutely business as usual. It's not awkward. It's not... They're not on, like, a more, I guess, intimate, comfortable relationship with each other.
Are you sure about that?
Well, okay, yes, but I'm talking about that one panel.
And the way she responds to it's a thanks for your hard work. Be careful with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I was this character, I would be walking through the door with a box. Hey, me, you. How about them hot springs, huh?
I think
Or at least being gentlemanly. Okay, hey, how are you? You know, are you cool with what
it
happened?
goes to
They're kind of back in the regular world, right?
yeah. So you have to keep up the facade of being proper.
So you think that it's not necessarily for them? They're putting on a show for like everybody in the outside world that might see.
Yeah, they're Japanese. That's a huge thing that they do.
Okay.
Yeah, the Japanese, they like to hold up
Like,
that they're
you-
really...
you
or
save
they
face
like to
at any
keep,
cost.
Yeah, they like to keep, like, how they're very proper. But now that he's in the store, no one's there, so she's just like, let's go.
Also think about like I started talking about how they're kind of equal when they're at the hot spring, but also think of it like in terms of employment and how he thinks of her. At the beginning of the story, he looks up to her because he's like, here's this beautiful, hardworking woman. She graduated from college. She's working at this nice antique store that her parents run, and he also mentions that she also might have like a different nice job. which
Yeah,
is
it's like you went to college and you sent to work at an antique store. What was your degree in?
Yeah, and
Because apparently it didn't get you very far.
he has the kind of blue collar job of
Yeah.
delivering packages. So in a way, there's really no reason for them to have that sort of intimate interactions that they have at the onsen. And like Xavier was saying, there's that kind of culture of now we have to put a face back on. Now that we're not out in the mountains, we're not at the onsen, we're back in the normal world we usually live in. So now they're kind of still playing that roles, but then that last panel hints that, you know, something else is still happening with them.
Onsen is like diet isekai.
I get it. That's a weird end. What the fuck does it say? Oshimai? Oshimoi? Moi? You practiced hiragana more recently than me. I think that's Oshimoi.
Yeah, Oshi. It's either Oshimo, Oshi. It's not Oshimi. It's not
No.
me. Oshihoi.
That's not ho. Anyway, we're weaving right the fuck out.
No, I think we've had a good conversation. I'd like to move on to the next work that we're going to look at.
This one I think is interesting, and I'm actually going to take a back seat on this one because I want to know how everybody else felt about it because I know it bothered.
Oh no, he did not like it.
Melinda liked
On
it.
whose
I did
part?
not like it.
Or, I
told
mean,
you.
I did finish my sentence. Melinda liked it. I was thinking about how to finish that sentence. I didn't want to say necessarily less than Ani. I don't know, more than Ani. Melinda didn't like it.
Yeah, like wait, I was gonna say like when did I said I like it because I never did. I actually.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear what everybody else has to say.
I know. I'm just saying. I came out and told you. I was like, I did not.
Would
like
you
it.
like to? Well, this is by Shiki Takuto. Would you like to read the romanji for us?
The Romanji? Namaiki JK Onsen Ryokou Nihaku Sanka?
Sanka?
Or Chiki JK Hot Springs Trip, 2 days, 1 night. As I said, by Shiki Takuto. Let's look at some of the tags we have here. We have schoolgirl uniform, 1 man, 1 woman, bondage, nakadashi, which is cream pie, defloration, which is the taking of virginity, DILF, which some people will argue was not actual DILF in this, exhibitionism, blindfold, which kind of plays into BDSM, prostitution, and once again BDSM. No, they put bondage, BDSM. Okay, as 2 separate tags. I can see how that's different.
Right. Well, bondage and BDSM are technically 2 separate things.
Well, like BDSM's like the lifestyle, right? What's bondage, domination, sadomasochism?
There's more to it, but it is not time for me to launch into this. So somebody else lead the discussion. And
Renee, since you did not
come
like
in like
this,
a wrecking ball.
I would like your
Nobody
summary
else
of
like.
it.
Well, I don't know about Xavier. Okay.
I was fine with it, and I'll tell you why in detail.
Oh, you were fine with it.
I'll tell you why in detail.
Okay.
It fulfills one of his fantasies when he gets older. Leave him alone.
Okay.
It also has his.
If that is true, that is concerning.
No, I will drop my knowledge.
I'm
but
honestly rather curious of why you appreciate this one, and it concerns me still.
Bondage and BDSM.
Well, no,
I know, I'm messing with you.
No,
Jen.
like-
Anna, please give us a summary.
So it's this man that he's working a lot, and he's taking some vacation days, and he's on his way to a hot springs or the onsen. Gets there, and this girl, the lady at the counter goes, "Oh, you had a room for 1, but there's 2 people." And he looks next to him. Magically, there's a girl in the school uniform that appears, and she's like, "Oh, I'm his niece. This was like a last minute decision." So she kind of just tags, and he's kind of like, what? And
She's a fucking grifter.
but it seems like he believes it at a moment because he. Okay, I'll talk about it later. And then he goes and they have a meal, and she does it. She like ran away or something, so she offers, what is it, compensated dating? Is that what they call it?
which I think we discussed that
Yeah.
last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
In exchange for being able to stay with him, and that turns into more than compensated dating, and they're having
Compensated
sex.
dating is basically.
It's part of it.
I thought compensated dating was just kind of like going around.
It starts
and,
off like that, but then usually when the girls want the real money.
Okay, but that's like extra, right?
Yeah.
Supposed.
In the sense that, what do you call it? When you're not prostituting yourself, you're dating somebody.
Escort.
There we go. Escorting. You
Okay.
know, escorting sometimes turns into prostitution.
Into that. Okay. So then they start having sex, and it turns out this is like her first time. He seems a little conflicted, and she keeps going, and then there's all sorts of different kinds of situation where they have sex. And then I think it gets real weird.
Well, it becomes a BDSM kind of relationship between them.
Yeah, but I don't. Okay, and then he pays her and he leaves.
And then they kind of meet again.
Yeah, and then they meet again at a train station.
Like, it's implied like weeks or days
sometime
or months later.
after.
You said she magically appears, but she's that girl that tells him to shut up on the first page.
Oh, she is? I didn't notice that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you all think about this work? What about it sticks out to you? Melinda and Ani, I'd like to hear why you two did not like this.
Because it's like some 45-year-old bro and she's like 15.
Okay, first of all, age is just a number.
No, it's not. Stop, not
It
always.
is absolutely not a number. After a certain amount of years, you cannot relate with your partner, and so the relationship will always be uneven.
Yeah.
Because it'll always be like
You know,
they're looking down on you, or they're taking pity on you, or it's some kind of
Or he's gonna have a heart attack.
or it's some kind of parental.
You don't know any of the
instinct.
same references?
Yeah. You can't share the dank memes with each other. You're too far apart.
Yeah, it's just like he's like anywhere. He has to be anywhere between 40 and 50.
Is that the only issue though? Because there's a much bigger issue here.
No, I know there's a bigger issue, but that's one of the reasons why.
I thought there was a lot of sexual manipulation in it, and it really bothered me.
It was very forceful, which was unsettling.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times where she's saying she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't give consent until after the fact.
Until after it's happening, and then she's like, all right, maybe I can get used to this. kind
Yeah.
of. And she does, but still, you don't know that from the beginning, and it's like, it's just forced. Whereas I feel like Mindbreak's not in this, is it?
No.
No.
Which it should kind of be.
I agree. I think it should be.
So, this is actually she's the tale of a tragedy, because something probably happened and she just wanted to leave it all behind.
Probably.
This is like when somebody gets a bad ending in a dating sim, and you don't hear what happens to this person. This is the potential. So she goes and she just gives herself to this guy. And she's,
yeah, that's the sad part about it too. Like she has like some weird.
I mean, he's shitty for going along with it and not just
And
you're
taking
just like-
advantage of it. He doesn't just go along with it. He definitely takes
But
advantage.
it comes out in like bursts, right? He's not intentionally
Like
malevolent. He's just like,
she's far from school and everything because Onsens are usually up in the mountains. Like
There's
why
a
is she there?
there's
Like,
a point where he says, "If you make me come, I'll let you eat."
well, yeah, he kind of grooms her into that relationship.
into the
but
dom and she's the masochist.
So she is not necessarily his victim, but a victim of her circumstances, and seeks an escape in any way she sees possible, and so this shit happens.
Yeah. Well, she essentially like by the end she kind of essentially turns herself into a prostitute. And then, like, at the very end, when she goes, like, oh, it's an investment into your future, she wants to continue this kind of lifestyle, so that's also equally as sad.
Yeah, and so now
But to me, that's part of the manipulation. To me.
But now she has this. So now she has a quote unquote older boyfriend now, right? She's gonna go to school, tell everybody how she met this guy, and how he's using his penis to keep her in line. Did she get through any of her issues?
No.
Yeah.
No, she
She's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go leave. I'm gonna go have sex with this man, and hopefully that will solve something. I guess she's a
and it's
stupid
gonna
teenager.
continue, and he's gonna keep paying me.
Xavier, did you like it, or did you?
It wasn't bad as far as these types of hentai go. I mean,
The worst case scenario for something like this is he's like, oh man, I can make money off of this girl.
Yeah, the worst case, it turns into him grooming her to just be a prostitute for everybody else, instead of just his personal prostitute.
So
Yeah.
it's not as bad as it could be, and that's
It is
why-
absolutely not as bad. Now, that's not saying that doesn't make it any better,
Okay.
obviously, but it's one of those things where it could have been so much worse. So a lot of the shittiness, I feel, comes from both of them. Her inability to deal with her problems properly, and his inability to.
Sort of stick up for himself.
Yeah, he's kind of
He's
spineless,
pushover.
except when the sex is involved.
Chaz, defend yourself. No.
You fucking pervert. Defend yourself before we kick you out. Okay.
So why do you want to date a 15-year-old?
Yeah, right.
Health benefits? Anyway, okay. So, I'm going to do my best to explain this because I feel like there's a couple of layers.
Would you like to explain your own proclivities?
My own proclivities? Well,
Or
basically...
your relationship to this text in a way.
Okay.
And the way you connect to it.
The way I connect to it is...
Sexual.
I mean, as... I feel like I bring this up every fucking episode. As a Dom, I understand what is going on here. Now, there's a narrative flow, and part of that narrative flow is, like we have said, hentai is a way to explore certain fetishes without actually victimizing anyone. Now, that being said, this is further down the rabbit hole than my personal relationship with Belinda, but I understand what's going on here. So, number one, I know a lot of the issues that you guys had with it was that you felt as though she was being forced. And yes, in regards to this text, kind of, I disagree that there's a lot of parts where she's revoking consent, because there's a lot of times in the first sexual act. In the first sexual act, she was like, no, just put it in. After the first sexual act, she didn't try to escape or get away or give any indication that she didn't like what was going on. She climbed into the hot tub with him.
That doesn't necessarily mean that she
But-
Yes, hang on.
Give me 1 second though. She was thrashing, and he kept saying like, "Stop thrashing," which is feeling like she's trying to escape.
I'm getting to that. All right. I think the salient issue here is in between the sex acts, she didn't try to escape or get away or try to put up any resistance. And what I think that means is, and I'm surprised that you didn't pick up on this, I don't know if it's necessarily a fetish or just exciting, but sometimes it's fun if you are in a dominant position, and it's fun for the person who's in a submissive position. Some people like to resist and like to pretend to put up a fight. Some people enjoy rape play, and I think that was an example of this.
Why does it always come back to it? Alternatively, that could have just been the better. What was she gonna run? She was obviously running away from something.
See, there's nothing in this to support that. You constantly talk about
she wanted to get away.
Absolutely, but get away from what?
Something pretty bad that she was willing to just give herself to an old man.
Again, you're assuming that this is bad for her and not
Also,
simply her
how many
fetish.
relationships are there where it's an abusive relationship and the person just stays there?
See, okay,
because they're
manipulates the younger
Here's the thing. You're and again, you guys say that I'm the one that normally goes dark. You're looking at this like abuse, whereas if this was in real life, if this was not hentai, where hentai is designed to explore fetishes in a safe way, this probably wouldn't be abuse. This would be rape play. This
absolutely does happen, where girls try to get away from their problems, and so they'll just. What's the easiest way to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying it never happens ever.
It happens more often than you're giving it credit for.
I'm not. That's not true. What I'm saying is, it also happens in consensual situations, and that's what I'm seeing here. Or another thing, where like you said, if you come, I'll let you eat. Again, that's further down the rabbit hole than her and I. But there are absolutely some DOMs like that.
There are severe ones.
I used
say that one.
to play WoW with this chick. Super open about her BDSM relationship. I guess there's something about us fucking weirdos where we just feel the need to advertise. And there's one time where she told the whole fucking raid. So we're like 25 people in this trying to do Naxxramas, and she's talking about how her Dom made her on her hands and knees crawl to the kitchen, bring him a drink, crawl to him, deliver the drink, crawl back to her computer, and made her raid with a vibrator shoved up her hoo-ha.
Okay.
Shit like that happens in real BDSM relationships. So when I look at this, I don't necessarily see someone that's necessarily being forced. I see her give consent when it matters. I see her resist when it would be arousing for the parties to resist.
But I see her give consent after the fact, after he's done what he wants to do.
She was doing it beforehand. Look,
Well,
he's
also-
asking, is it really okay?
Yeah,
She's
and then he
egging
goes,
him on.
I'm not
Well,
gonna
that's
stop.
not necessarily a BDSM thing. That's more just a thing that happens in hentai, where the younger girl or the girl who wants to actually have the sex, or in this case just trying to erase whatever pain, where they're just like, well, you're gonna chicken out. That happens not in just those situations. It happens like across hentai.
I understand,
And
but
right there, he says, "I won't stop even if you start crying." Like, why?
That also.
you
happens
would
a
be
lot.
horrified if you heard some of the shit I say to Melinda on a nightly basis. If that gets under your skin.
Also, one way that
Well, also, I
there's-
feel like it's a little different because me and you are in an actual relationship.
Okay,
where
but
we're
again,
consuming to each
this
other.
is a narrative, and they have to thread these elements of the relationship on the narrative. And again, we're going back to hentai as a way to explore these fetishes in a safe way. So this fetish is, exploring the fetish of somebody who's resisting and
Also-
fighting back a little bit, because when you're having these rape play sessions with somebody who is submitting, you're still kind of pretending that you're forcing yourselves on them, and it's exciting for both people.
Yeah. So
I mean, like me and you have done this play before, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the only reason why, like, I felt like it was just different, I think it's because I only think about me and your relationship. I don't see it in anybody else's for some reason. So even when I read this, I'm like, that's rapey. Like, that's what made me uncomfortable.
Well, again, I think,
And it's hard for me to see it in other people, I guess.
I think leveraging that position of dominance is. You're supposed to pretend that it's rapey, right?
Yeah, but also
that's
in-
why it's exciting.
But also in your argument on page 17.
Okay. Yes, contradict me.
No, I'm not contradicting you.
No, I welcome.
No, I know, but I'm not
debate.
contradicting you. She does. I'm not gonna lie. She does say beforehand, "You can do whatever you want with me." Like, and she starts rubbing his dick with her foot, and she's like, "We're doing competitive dating, right? Like, you can still do whatever you want."
See, again, I see
She's
her
just
give
gonna-
her consent
yeah.
when it matters, and then when they're actually in the act, she starts struggling. That, to me, does not... Okay, usually in an actual healthy BDSM relationship, there would be a safe word. Consider that. In this kind of culture,
There's no-
no doesn't mean no. Now, granted, again, the text, the narrative is supposed to be rapey because it's exciting.
Yes.
That's playing into that fetish. But if this was happening in real life, there'd be a safe word, and her struggling really wouldn't mean dick. That would just be part of what was going on.
the thing about the do whatever you want to me, I feel like
I think it's more like a loss of self-worth and just like, hey, you made me feel good, keep doing it.
What do you think
Yeah,
being a submissive is? I don't think it's a loss of self-worth. I
I'm
think
telling
it's...
you, that's what it is here.
it's not so much it's a free for all. I don't have to ask if I'm okay with this. Do whatever you want to me. It's more of a let's keep doing things.
Yeah.
See, I need Josh to translate this into smart words.
No,
but I
Oh!
see... No, not what you said. I mean, what I'm about to say. I'm so sorry. Please tell me you didn't take it.
Just like, you're too stupid. Just translate.
No. I need Josh to translate what I'm about to say into smart words.
No, I have
see...
things to say. Go ahead.
Right. I see a BDSM relationship sort of slotted into a narrative, because if they just have two consenting individuals that do this in their daily life, I mean, that's kind of boring, right? Because theoretically, somebody would be into this or might already do that in their real life.
I can also see it in Charlie's view because, like, now that it makes a little bit more sense like that, and I'm trying to see it through, like, kind of our relationship.
I understand where he's coming from because he doesn't have a lot of
Yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of background in hentai, so all he's got to go off his anime and his BDSM.
You fucking... Okay, now there's one part that does kind of...
Okay, wait, hold on, Josh. You had some.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I keep fucking interrupting you, dog. You're the fucking president here. You tell me to shut the fuck up. Get a gavel.
Well,
People respect gavels.
No, I like to let it go and see where it heads, but I think there's two conflicting views on it. I think part of the view is some of us are looking at it, and if this was a real life scenario, this wouldn't be okay. And I think if this was a real life scenario, this would not be okay. You have a teenage girl who's a runaway, having a sexual relationship with an older man who's pushing her in ways that isn't given the sort of explicit consent that we like to have in actual real relationships. On the other hand, I see Chaz's view, where Chaz's view is...
I'm looking at subtext.
Yeah, you're looking at... there's this BDSM fetish, and you see that this is very clearly defined as both BDSM and bondage.
And like even in the...
And
that one scene where she's like showing him off to, or he's showing her off to the other guys. Again, further down the rabbit hole than us. I'm way too possessive for that. I would never do that. There are fucking parties where a dom will just wheel his sub out in front of people
On a leash.
and make her just do degrading stuff, and she's the entertainment for that night. And that's exciting for her, and that's exciting for him. And if that's their thing, go for it. Again, I'm not fucking sharing her with dick shit, but some people do that, and I
What if
see
she's
it as
into it?
parallel. I'm not, but sorry. I don't think that's something you're wanting, is it?
Not on that extreme end, no.
So the way I see Chaz is interpreting it as this is a fantasy, and in a way the fantasy would be ruined if you had the explicit, hey, if this is gonna be the sort of relationship we're gonna have, we need to establish the rules and boundaries and understand the sort of culture that we're getting into when it comes to BDSM and BDSM as an actual sex thing. A lot of what Chaz knows about in a real BDSM relationship is sort of removed from this framework for the sake of the expedience of a fantasy and a narrative. And I think that sort of creates the sort of schism we're having here, in that the rest of the group is sort of seeing it as, from a strictly narrative sense, if this was a real scenario, this would not be acceptable. But if you look at it from the sense of this is a BDSM fantasy with a lot of the sort of things that would slow down the fantasy and the narrative removed for the sake of an exciting erotic story.
And this is what I was trying to... Well, I'm sorry, 1 second. This is what I was trying to bring up with the tags. Bondage is just tying somebody up. BDSM, this is BDSM. The controlling, the dominating, the forcing your submissive to do something she quote-unquote does not want to do. Again, safe words are important, people. But that is what BDSM is, and it's not just tying somebody up. So that's what is it a lifestyle? Yes, no, kind of. I mean, we don't go down the street like that, right? But
some people do.
I'm just saying there's more to it than bondage, and that's why it's different. Yeah, well, we have fucking Do You Catan, RPG Imaginary. You can listen. You can hear all about it.
You conform to societal norms.
What were you about to say on A before I asked you to let me finish?
I'm sorry, I also cut you off. I am terrible. I'm walking out of the fucking... Finish this without me.
What were you going to say, Melinda?
I don't remember anymore. I got cut off, so I don't remember now.
Well, I was going to say something else, but no, I mean, I think I get the fact that if you do add the establishing safe words and kind of establishing everything that they agree, it probably
in
does.
a real BDSM relationship.
Well,
Yeah.
also, like, in a lot of hentai in general, like, the girl will still say no, but she's, like, thinking, like, she still wants it.
Yeah.
It's another part of why it's like that, probably why it's like that in here. And also, I have noticed that they're doing, like, the older dude, younger girl, like, in regular Western, like, BDSM, I've noticed. Like, porn videos, like, there's, like, they're not that young, because that'll get taken off of porn.
I honestly don't have any problem, at least in this text, with the age gap or the imaginary consent. No, because I actually know people in cases like this woman.
Well, also, like, I was...
Like, IRL, shit's dark. And so... to see something that happens more often than anybody would like, it's and then just to see like, but it's okay because he's gonna keep paying her money.
Well, would you finish the thought you had earlier about what you were coming to realize?
Well, so when I was first reading it, I was trying to rationalize why he was acting like that so much without really thinking about the BDSM in general. And I was thinking, that there's in the beginning the few short panels where he's talking to his boss, and his boss is being an asshole and taking his time when he's not even at work. And he sees kind of this opportunity when she shows up of having the same power that somebody else has with him. And he just kind of takes it and runs with it. And that's how I saw it, where he was like, okay, well, in his own life, he probably doesn't have much control because he doesn't even take a vacation somewhere where he can really just relax. So when he sees the opportunity of having that same power over somebody else, he takes the opportunity.
That's actually a very interesting look into it, because that's another thing you'll see in a lot of like real life BDSM relationships. Mm-hmm. You'll see that a lot of the customers that like go to a dominatrix or something,
They're people with a lot of power.
Yeah, they're always like CEOs or some shit, and then they specifically give up power as an escape for them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'm a control freak or I'm just so much of a loser that I need to. Like, I don't know how that reflects on me personally.
I'm just sure it's not.
The one who has the power becomes the sub, and you're the dom.
I mean, so I have no power in real life.
I mean, I'm sure that's not like the case for everybody that's into this.
Yeah.
But no, that's a really good observation. So yeah, this guy gets kicked around. He's got no say over anything, and now
Unhealthy coping mechanisms.
That's why I was so because I genuinely
that is awesome. I didn't think of that.
That's why I was so bothered by it because I didn't really. I guess I forgot the BDSM tag, and I was like, well, he just saw the opportunity and he ran with it, and he didn't get consent, and he didn't establish. Because I did think about safe words. I was like, he didn't establish safe words. He didn't do any of that. And I think for me to enjoy a story with BDSM and this kind of thing, I would need the story of establishing all of that.
You need Western porn.
You need the other. you need 50 pages instead of 42. Because that's something I try to keep in mind, is that this is legitimately somebody's sexual fantasy, and I imagine somebody who enjoys this isn't going to go into it thinking, it's like, wow, this is a little fucked up when I think about it too much. Obviously, the whole point of what we're doing is we're purposely looking at it too much.
Post-fat, that is probably what
quote-unquote.
happens.
I'm a monster.
But I think I see it more in line with the way Chaz sees it, in that this is a BDSM fantasy that it's able to be engaged and it's allowed to happen through the context of an onsen where you're sort of removed from your regular life. You're allowed to be open in an unusual way, at least in the context of hentai. And it just seems like a lot of the things that most people would have in a real BDSM relationship are taken out for the expediency of the fantasy and the narrative.
I think one of the shittiest things the guy says was at the end where he's just like, yeah, take care of yourself. After the weekend's been done.
He's like, don't do this again. Like, don't let people do this to you.
Just like...
You just did it to her. You just did all of it.
Do as I
Just
say.
like, yeah, you probably shouldn't walk down dark alleys. Bye.
You look kind of rapey.
Well, in a way, you were talking about real facets of BDSM relationships. And for some, there is an element of self-improvement, isn't there?
What do you mean?
For some, I remember reading in like some doms will make their submissives go to the gym and do things like that. And it's like, you're a piece of coal. Through my training of you, you're going to become something worthwhile.
That's... Yes, but I don't think that's very common.
I think
I'm not saying
I think a 90% of BDSM relationship is like me and her, where I think she's fucking perfect as she is. She won't listen to me. I just want her to do what I tell her to do in bed, because I get jollies that way, because I'm a weirdo, I guess. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying it's like a normal part, but that is something that happens, right? In a way, that's what happens in that he initially tries to push her off. He's saying, like, look, don't you know how this could turn out?
You want to get raped?
Yeah, he literally says that, and the girl's like, she kind of calls his bluff and knowing that he's not going to do that at first.
It's like, he wouldn't do it. He's just like...
Yeah, he is like worried that she's gonna go to the cops or something. You won't do
because
it.
compensated in the way they're doing it with actual sex happening is technically illegal in Japan.
Yeah.
They have real high school girl cafes. Those kind of things usually get shut down, though, for obvious reasons.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, the Asians, they age so slowly. So they can be high schoolers for a while.
I actually wanted to do the school uniform tag before this. It was just really hard to find something where the school uniform was the focus.
And not just them being in school.
Yeah, but I actually found one that we could talk about in which the school uniform plays a part. And it's an older girl wearing a school uniform, still pretending to be a schoolgirl to hit up on guys. But yeah, that's for a different tag. I still need to find one more so we at least have two things to talk about where the school uniform is significant rather than just a set piece.
I just want to point out on page 3 when she shows up, and he's just kind of like, "Oh, what is happening? Like, oh, is she my niece?" Because there's a point where he says like, he's worried. I think on page 4 he was like, "Oh, I kind of get what's happening. If that were to happen to me, if somebody just pops up and goes, oh yeah, we're gonna stay together,' and I'd be like, nope. No, we're not. I don't know this person."
Well, yeah.
Because that's how you get murdered.
That's everybody. You're not a hentai protagonist.
That's like how you get
That's a very
Very close-minded way to act on it.
I'm just afraid of getting murdered.
So it's kind of like fast talking, where you just keep things moving so much so that the other person can't keep pace, and it can happen. Like a lot of people think that like that wouldn't work on me, but it does work on them.
Are you saying it's gonna work on you, Xavier?
No, it doesn't.
He's
work
saying,
on
what do you think he did last weekend?
That's how you get.
That's how Xavier gets his daily inheritance. There was an old white couple in Nebraska that he convinced he was her grandson.
Oh, also, by the way, your ancestors killed my ancestors.
Keeping control of the conversation, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. As far as getting somebody to do stuff.
Unethical life pro tips.
It is absolutely unethical. Unethical as this? I like to think I'm highbrow.
So we already kind of got into the sort of things you would want to change in either this story or the other one. You said when it comes to you, you would prefer the
Seeing
full
the consent.
BDSM sort of, the full aspect of the relationship that makes everything acceptable in a way.
Yeah.
Or at least non-abusive.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions that you would want to ask either authors of either of these texts?
Who hurt you?
I feel like you ask that question a lot. Do you think hentai mangaka are hurt people?
You gotta have some level of damage, right?
Well, isn't that just kind of true?
Cinnamon
of creative-
rolls don't write these.
It's kind of just true of creative people in general. Like, there's always something fucked up that we always tend to challenge or try to channel into a creative direction.
Also, this is
And
hentai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no one reads the... I mean, on top you see there, right? The vanilla.
I'm in it for the story.
And so am I. But, like, no one reads the vanilla hand-holding because you're reading a hentai, you want something to happen.
To be fair, somebody reads vanilla handholder.
Oh, yeah. That's why it's there. It's just not as popular as Lolicon and Shotokan for a reason.
Rape, mind break. Chaz, did you have a question that you would want to ask either of these authors?
Was I right? That's basically it. I mean, I think in my
You don't want to give them a fist bump and be like, "We, brothers of the soul."
I get you, dog. I get you.
I'm glad that he learned her name at the end.
Oh, Ridika? She could be lying.
That's you.
That's her stage name.
What about you, Melinda? Do you have a question you'd want to ask either of these authors?
Not really, no.
Emily?
I don't want to talk to these monsters.
Yeah, I don't really think so.
I really, really, really want to get Gaijin Goomba to guest star on one of these.
Maybe like what was the intent or what
Or what
exactly
Akidira.
what
She'll probably do it.
I want
That's right.
Akidira so bad
You're
because
right.
we're
That is the bottom
there's no
line.
other. Yeah.
me and Akidira are homegirls. We both love tentacles. We get each other.
So do you think there's anything people could apply from these stories into their own sex lives?
I hope not.
No, because you don't get the entire scope of what a BDSM relationship is like. You shouldn't.
This is not an introductory course in BDSM. This is for people who already know what's up.
I know.
This is somebody's sex life already.
This
I
is
guarantee
this is not D&D 5th edition. This is D&D 3.5 or what's the one with Thaco?
Second edition.
Second edition.
Thaco is not that bad. It gets a bad rap.
It's not bad, it's just stupid.
It's actually far more intuitive than the tables they used to use in first edition and
I
zero.
mean, yeah, but it's easier just... What'd you get? Did it beat it? Okay.
I yes, ascending armor class is better, but this is the wrong debate for the porno podcast. Thaco is not bad. It's not bad.
It's just engineered stupidly.
It is engineered better than whatever the fuck Gygax came up. So you have Gygax's original model, you have Thaco, and then Wizards came up with ascending armor. I'm sorry, Anaihi.
Guys, let's get back to the point. Sex.
I want to talk about D&D. Thaco's not bad.
No.
So what do you think the role of this tag in the story and the sex acts performed might say about psychological motivations of this text audience? By psychological motivations, I'm sort of saying, what do you think it is that people enjoy about this that they sort of come to these sort of texts for?
BDSM is hot.
I think he's talking about Onsen.
I know.
And I'm also glad you think so, because it means I'm doing it right. I definitely, I think it's the escapism part of it.
Yeah.
I think it's all
The
I'm saying.
removal from your ordinary world.
A place to relax, maybe a place to be yourself a little bit. Where you're not really, there's a recurring element in these texts of not having to be what society tries to hammer you into. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, these are written by doujin artists.
Well, yeah, but
Are they really the social norm?
But look, okay, it's like you guys said about the last panel in the last text where they have to put on a face, but they go to the
That's happening in
onsen.
this one too. The second one.
Yeah, exactly. They put on a face when they're there, but at the onsen they can be themselves.
I think
And
that's more of a Japanese thing.
it probably is. We are analyzing art from another culture. I'm not saying it's not, but I definitely see that as a unifying element.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like it's a simple enough vacation that you can take, even at just a weekend thing,
Right.
and it's gonna make everything better, kind of make you forget about
Okay, to
whatever
be fair,
you work
you can
with.
take a day trip across the damn country in Japan. They're so fucking small.
But this is a cheap option. You don't have to. You
Yeah.
most likely probably don't have to take an airplane or even a bus.
you
You
can
can probably
almost
just drive
definitely take a
it.
train anywhere.
Yeah.
in
You don't
Japan.
have to get psychologically broken by going to Paris, which happens to a lot of Japanese people.
Why? There's a lot of like Francophiles over there, right?
Yeah, but it has a specific name. It might be called Parisian Syndrome. I have to look it up real quick. But it's an issue where people go to Japan. People from Japan go to Paris, specifically Paris in France, and they have these high expectations.
And then they
of,
get
like,
to
they're
a
like,
dirty
yeah.
city.
Yeah, they're like, I'm finally going to the land of true romance with beautiful, elegant white people, awesome food, wine,
And then they get
and then
to
they
a
get
dirty
there.
city.
Yeah,
It's
they get to actual Paris, and they're like, "Oh God, it's dirty. It smells like piss." A gypsy just tried to rip me off.
Everyone's rude.
Yeah, it's called Paris Syndrome, or Parishokugun.
A transient mental disorder exhibited by some individuals when visiting or going on vacation to Paris as a result of extreme shock derived from their discovery that Paris is not what they expected it to be. Characterized by a number of psychiatric symptoms such as acute delusional states, hallucinations, feeling of persecution,
Derealization, depersonalization, anxiety, and also psychosomatic manifestations such as dizziness, tachycardia, sweating, and others, such as vomiting. Also, I guess Jerusalem has its own variation of this, particularly noted in Japanese travelers.
Wow. Yeah, I think there's a lot of like Francophiles over in Japan. That's why Pokemon Gen 6 was set in Kalos. I'm a fucking nerd. What do you want?
So, does anybody have like any general things that you think the texts were arguing when it comes to like exploring human sexuality, human psychology in relation to sex and gender relationships?
Again, I don't see much of an argument here. I think it's, if anything, it's more preaching to the choir.
You don't think there might be like an argument to be said about the idea of maybe going somewhere where you can release your inhibitions to unleash
what?
the inner self?
Right there. Good shit, buddy.
Go to a hot spring, have sex with a stranger.
Or with somebody you're already in a consensual relationship. Maybe it might be fun to go explore your BDSM relationship with your significant other at a hot
At a hot
spring.
What,
Just-
what the fuck do you think we're gonna do?
Just be careful with the river floaters.
Well,
Unless exhibitionism is your thing.
True.
This one did have exhibitionism as a tag. I don't think we talked about the tags as much. Oh yeah, we did. We said
did.
exhibitionism. So, as usual, let's write our own Onsen hentai story.
I've got the dice.
Okay.
Does Fitz need a dice number?
Yes. No.
7.
Here, I'm just gonna throw you the D10s from Vampire, and you can.
Well, there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
Speaking of vampire, we have Vampire. What actual place?
That's for the plug.
He wants to know what it is.
The shameless
What do you
one.
have? What do you have?
Oh, here's the D6.
Look at him.
Well, I mean, if you're ashamed of what you create, you shouldn't be creating it.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, let's just do it.
That's why we unabashedly talk about porn in public.
Hey, port is fun.
I mean, that's why we're here. That's why our listeners are here.
Technically, this isn't in public though.
Well, it becomes a public
It does.
discussion, though. That's what I was referring to. Although, If we were streaming, does that count as public?
I don't know.
I feel
Yes.
like I feel like technically no, but it should. Oh, Josh, I got to take another swig of wine to get this
Yeah.
fucking started.
We're all drinking wine. Some of us got drunk last night during a board game night.
I got sloshed. I have a hard time controlling the volume of my voice, but I'm not an asshole when I'm drunk, so I'll take that.
All right, Xavier will be 1, Chaz 2, Melinda 3. On a 4, I will be 5. So we can't really pick a setting like we usually do because we've been given a setting. It's an onsen.
But it's an onsen where? Is it an onsen in the far dystopian future in planet Pluto? Is it an onsen in the Forgotten Realms? You don't fucking know, Josh!
Well, instead of picking a setting, I'd like to give the first dice roll to saying what is the reason
They're
the
going
protagonists
to
are going to an
The
onsen.
protagonist.
Interesting.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's me. Wonderful.
Get away from work.
These are cool.
Yeah, I accidentally stole those from a friend. So what happened was I had a buddy the guy who got me into Warhammer 40k, and we are both huge proponents of Khorne skulls for the Skull Throne. So he had his own Khornate army, I had mine, and as he's walking into my apartment, he just basically his tray full of shit drops. And I help him pick everything up. But lo and behold, 2 of his skull dice I found lodged under a door like 2 months after he had left.
Yeah, it's a
So,
gift
like-
from Khorne.
Yeah, to his favorite son. Randy, if you're listening to this, I have your dice.
Sorry, Josh.
So where are they gonna go?
So yeah, I'm gonna go with something a little extreme. I'm gonna say
Get over their PTSD.
no. Oh, that was something vaguely similar. I was gonna say perhaps somebody on rest and relaxation coming from some sort of intergalactic space war
Okay.
set in the near future. Let's say the year 2222. So yeah, now 1, 2, 3, 4. Reroll on 5 and 6 with let's say both of our 2 protagonists.
Oh, I hope I don't get it.
1, 2. Chaz, give us our protagonist.
Our protagonist is a...
We will say the onsen is a typical Japanese mountain onsen,
Okay.
just in the year 2222,
All
during
right.
an intergalactic space war.
Is a tri-gendered tentacled alien named Feeble 7.
All right.
And Feeble 7 has recently retired from the intergalactic space war. Very, very stressed, and I don't know how far I'm supposed to go with this.
I don't know. What branch of the military did he serve in? Or they, since trigender?
The 7th dimensional dropship Marines.
Okay. Who's gonna give us our second protagonist? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're giving on 8. Give us our second protagonist.
Okay, so the first one was
Feebor.
okay. Do I have to name it? Name the person?
You might as well if you want. You don't have to.
They could just be schoolgirl number 7.
Okay. And you said
What?
okay, no.
Tri-gendered tentacled alien.
Trigender. That's what I was trying to think.
Not necessarily a tentacle monster. Not all people with tentacles are monsters, you filthy racist. Or speciesist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tentacleist.
Speciesist.
Okay, do they actually have tentacles, or do they just identify as something with tentacles?
I'm guessing they have at least 6, but that's just me. That's a good round number. You know, one for each limb and then 2.
Well, I was gonna say probably walking on 2 forearms.
Aha.
Yeah, give us our second protagonist.
I'm gonna say it's somebody that works there, not one of the owners or anything, but this person just kind of cleans and takes care of the needs of the customers.
Sexual?
Do they usually do this sexually, or is it just
Not
something they
usually
end up?
sexually.
So they're usually the person that brings out like your tea and your meal and
Yes.
cleans your kimono.
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess I have to find the.
Is it a woman?
That's
Is
what
it
I'm trying to think about.
Woman,
No, we're gonna say it's a
man.
man.
okay.
It's a
It's a
man.
man.
No,
We don't
wait.
always have to be
It's gonna be.
subversive.
It's gonna
It's a
be
dick girl.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what
You
they're
also
calling it.
don't always have to
Buddha.
take a dick
It's gonna be Buddha. She has both penis and a vagina.
Does she have testicles?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like she's got the vagisac.
She's got the whole thing.
Okay.
Both of the whole things.
You were really infatuated with Futanari.
I think it's fun.
Every time you get
It's
a chance
fun.
to
It's
put it-
cool,
Did you
Josh.
discover your tag? honey?
Yeah, I think I just. I think it's so fun.
Because it is fun.
I'm not trying to shame you or anything. I just think it's funny.
And she also has cat ears.
Okay.
Oh, cat girl
No, I'm
Fuda.
I'm down.
That was a joke, but if you want to go with it, you can go with
I'm
it.
totally going with it.
Okay, and the
We're
tail, I
gonna
guess.
get all the tags in.
It's just gonna be cat ears and tail. No, wait, not cat.
Dog.
But cats are cooler.
We're gonna say fox.
Fox.
That works.
Fox ears and tail. 'Cause she's
Alright.
a foxy lady.
So Xavier has 1 through 3. Melinda has 4 to 6. With how does the scenario play out? 4 to 6. Melinda, go ahead. How does the scenario play out between our two characters?
I don't know how to start that one.
Well,
There's an entire
You know what?
intergalactic space war. What more do you need to work
And this
with?
guy's going to an and run by yokai.
Nah.
Dick girls.
well, we have our two protagonists. Fibor is here on rest and relaxation from an intergalactic war, and you have the Futanari Fox Girl.
Can we make it a fox boy?
Fox boy with the. What, you want her to be a cunt boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
At
It's
this
a boy
point,
with a vagina.
Okay. That took away something that I wanted.
Okay,
to
wait,
add,
a
but-
fox girl's fine. Fox girl's fine.
Fox dick girl.
Fox girl.
Because
Let's just say
boobies
she's-
are magic.
Yeah, that's true.
She's hella drunk on sake because she was sneaking some, and then she goes to serve this guy or what's his name?
Fibor 7.
Fibor. Okay, yeah, she goes to serve
Fibor 7, madam.
Fibor
Which
7.
Fibor are you talking about? If you go to the Fibor family reunion, they're not going to know.
It's gonna be fucking Fibor. But she goes to serve.
Just saying, that's how you get swarmed by tentacle monsters.
She goes to serve Fibor, and she falls into his bathwater or his onsen, whatever, and he tries to help her out. And he grabs her tail, which is apparently a turn on, and that turns her on. And then he just starts getting really grabby with with his tentacles.
Is this consensual?
Yes,
Or accidental.
accidental at first, but then she's into it.
Xavier, would you like to give us how the sex act plays out then?
And how everything ends.
You can throw in a few more tags at this point when it comes to sex acts. You can.
We're going for the whole shebang.
you can. There's always ahagao.
I mean, so with the tentacles, you can do a lot of things, right? So there's obviously the.
Oh, hold up.
ass-
Are these like shape-shifting tentacles?
They're whatever he
Yes.
wants them to be. So there could be like, so there's one going in the ass, one going in the vagoo. There's one like
Sucking
playing with
off
the
the
balls.
pee-pee.
Yeah, one sucking off the pee-pee. There's some going in like the ears. Guys going into the mouth, coming out the nostrils.
Is this all because like he's an Fibor is an alien, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they one of those aliens that's like, oh, you have an unusually high amount of stress hormones?
Yes.
Let me get rid of them. And he's just
Maybe
like,
just
whoa,
try to figure out
Because
which
let's
hole is the hole.
say she has been having a really hard day at work today.
hard.
He's also got like some of the little small
And you know,
tentacles that are thin.
he might not have seen a dick girl before. He's just like, I'm gonna explore this
Oh.
body, and just
For science.
for science, yeah. And he's gonna do everything to it.
Her tail's a soft spot, like in a lot of other hentai.
And so at the end of it, she's a hot, sticky mess mixed with like his mucus and her own.
Am I
semen.
allowed to draw this up, by the way? Because now I just want to draw this up. Am I
You
allowed to do
absolutely
that?
can.
Be our guest.
And submit it to
Send
him.
fan mail to
It's,
our Twitter or my God, my business email is public, but do I want to flood it with hentai fan mail? Yes, I do. ChazLaBelle@yahoo.com.
I
And
mean, you're already gonna get someone who knows it.
They agree to see each other, but he gets shipped out again and dies.
that's so sad!
Do that!
Because I think we've ended too many on a high note.
Oh, that just broke my heart a little bit.
So now his ghost just comes back.
It is. He did specify it's a yokai onsen.
Yeah,
Now he gets to be with him forever.
in whatever form. I'm assuming it's like the little tentacle
She gets
thing
invisible
at the end
pleasure all the time.
At the
now.
end of Bloodborne.
No, he looks exactly the same, but now he's got that little fucking doctor's mask over his face.
All right, let's name our
I
or
kept
onsen hentai.
I kept thinking like Spirited Away kind of style of.
Onsen.
Wait, this is Miyazaki.
All right, if we get to it, we want to see this.
Coming to Kickstarter this fall.
Well, then if we're making a joke about Spirited Away now, we have to give it a Ghibli-esque name. Would it be Tentacle of the Heart? Or Onsen of... I don't know. Onsen of the...
I think it would be closer to Tentacles of the Soul.
Tentacle Onsen.
I was going to give it like a really 80s kind of name.
My Neighbor the Tentacle Monster?
No, it can't be focused on tentacles. It has to be focused on the hot spring.
Oh, okay. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Hot Springs? I don't fucking know.
Onsen of my heart. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, and if two people said it, the title of this work is now Onsen of the Heart. Send in your fan mail, not your artistic renditions of all these stories we come up with.
One day, I don't want to jinx it, knock wood, but one day we're going to get like this super fan that either animates or illustrates all of it, goes through our backlog and just draws up everything. Thank you, potential future person. You are awesome, and we embrace you as the weirdo you are.
I call the illustration for this one then.
Do it. Do it. I'll put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter doesn't give a shit. They don't block anything. They're straight up porn on Twitter.
I was gonna. You can put it on Imgur and link it on the video in the comments. All right, but yeah, we hope you enjoyed this onsen centric episode. The hot springs episode of our Hentai Literature Club. All of our social media will be posted wherever you're listening to this, whether it's SoundCloud, whether it's podcast on iTunes or Apple, however you want to call it. All the various places we put it. You look it up, you can find it. Chances are you're probably listening to it on YouTube, in which case we would appreciate a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we always want to hear your comments on what you're doing, especially on these, because we want to hear what you think about these. And if you have any recommendations, of course, or tags, artists, animated works you'd like us to look at, even games, we could find a way to do that. At least one person has requested, what was it? Katawa Shoujo?
I mean, I've made a request at least 3 times. I'm telling you, we have the subscription now. I want to do the Eternal Hearts VTM crossover because I want to know what the fuck is part of that fucking shit.
Yeah, but anyways, even if you're just listening to this, you're not going to do anything else but listen to it.
Oh, they're going to do a couple other things with it.
We appreciate you for being here with us and engaging in the medium with us, and hopefully next time you read a hentai or even whatever you're doing,
you'll think of us.
Yeah, you'll think critically about what you're reading or listening to or what have you.
Not at first.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, and stay caffeinated. There we go. Are we doing ASMR?
I'm not gonna just whisper.
It's ASMR eating chips.
Do it really close to the mic. No, Josh, you gotta get closer. This is weird. I really hope you cut it out.
No, it's the blooper at the end of the video.